Hi, guys, welcome back to Transits and Tactics. The gate of clinging fire. Imagine somebody burning, like, in those blockbusters, you see somebody running in the street, burning with this fire clinging to them, and you can't do anything to put it out. This is what we're dealing with this week. We are experiencing the solar transit in gate 30, the gate of desires, known as the gate of clinging fire. And this is exactly a very, very good, in my opinion, metaphor, because this is a desire of something new. Something needs to change. I want to experience something. I want to experience something fully, try new things. You can get so excited. So there's two keywords, excitement and expectations, because the fire, this desire, it's burning and you can't stop it until you actually go into the experience and you experience this. And that's where it's not always what you thought it's going to be, right? So it's so important. This is an emotional gate. This is going to be very, very strong emotional pull, but not sort of like a dramatic, like last week we had this, gate 49, gate of revolution, and it was like a really black and white kind of energy, volatile. This is more about excitement. So be careful, lock away that credit cards, because you might get excited about something, but then, find yourself in the commitment that maybe is not really something that you really want, because the earth is grounding us in the gate of commitment, which is the gate of saying yes to things. And it's funny because you know, how often do we like get this obsessive idea and we just like we say yes to it, then bam, it happens. You're like, oh, this is not what I completely didn't expect it's going to be like this. So strategy and authority is so, so important during this period because, with the gate 30, it could be about changing something. It also could be dwelling on a negative experience from the past. There could be people that are wanting to break something. There could be outbursts, and especially if you have open solar plexus or emotional center, especially at that, you can get really affected. But remember that people who are defined, I'm pointing at Anita here, people who are defined, emotionally defined, in the moment they don't know the truth, so the outbursts could be, if the person is defined, it could be a momentary thing. That's not necessarily how they feel overall. So I think that this is the time where you really need to hold back. Now, by saying that, I was just sharing with Anita before we started recording this, that this was the energy under which I met my now husband Jim. There was this energy of clinging fire, something needed to change. I remember that week I was so pissed off with the situation that I was in my life, and I really, really wanted something new. And then that new was delivered, because this is a real big energy for manifestation of what you're focusing on. And, in my case, I did follow my strategy and authority. There was like a mutual invitation. He's also a splitting projector, just like me. We kind of ended up inviting each other in a way, and then, being visible to each other and recognizing each other. And with the spleen, we knew straight away this is a serious thing. But it could have been all completely different. And it could have been all just one of those, things when you meet up and it just didn't work out, right? So this is this volatile energy. The best approach, I think, within this is to really understand this about emotional wave. Any time when you're dealing with the emotional gate, you have to understand, and even if you are not defined emotionally, there's no truth in the now, no matter how good or bad these obsessive thoughts are. Just do nothing. If you feel, here's my personal thing, because I'm actually a little secret, not gonna go and spill the beans, but there is a situation right now, and it's a negative character situation that is like a clinging fire in my mind, constantly annoying me. It's coming from way from the past. And I know, thank God for these transit videos we're doing, because I know not to act. So what I did is I was just journaling. I wrote letters to everyone involved in my journal. They don't need to know what what I'm happy to do. They don't need to know that whatever conclusions I'm making out of all this emotional energy, because you never know what's going to happen inside the experience. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to let them take the steps if they want to take any steps. Because right now you don't know, you might break up relationships and then, this was the worst thing that could have happened to you. So here we are to say, please, please analyze everything, see what's happening, but try not to change anything just yet. Make your intentions. It's only 6 days. Right after that, we're in the gate 55, so things will change. And then lastly, if you have a harmonious gate 41, you have the whole channel of recognition 3041 being activated. And it's interesting because, again, it could be about emotions, especially excitement, could be running high. And channel of recognition generally is about focusing. People with this energy, they can focus on having a big vision, in the future, and they need to share it with the people around them. But sometimes it can be really too caught up in kind of in their heads, in their worlds, to share. So what can happen this week? You can have people popping up that can help you, not maybe that you share the vision with, but that can help you within your manifestations and making it more efficient, or just helping. So have your eyes open. Don't jump into experiences, but be open to receive, right? But also, and I know Anita is much more an expert on that, I am realizing that Pluto is now residing in 41, activating this for all of us. So this week, what we can particularly feel is this, not like a not being bothered to share or to step out of your own world, and trying to stay in and kind of hoard this vision that we have, and not wanting to be visible. And that's something that we, as on a grand scheme of things, we're holding back. We don't want to be visible now. So this, it will pass. It's okay. It's just, and things are changing. Big things are changing. My headphones are falling out of my ears. So the Pluto, and Anita, I will pass the mic to you because you are much better at that. But Pluto is, and Anita said that so many times during this last few weeks, it is about breaking the old cycles and starting the new cycles. So we're kind of like in the world of the new. And if you are like me, and I've been holding back in my marketing, in my visibility as well, and I'm very transparent about that. I've been holding back because of dealing with all these kind of internal things. And it makes sense. When something new is happening, you do want to sometimes, in a way, like sow your seeds, but make sense of things. It's okay sometimes to hold to go within, right? And if you are like this, it's okay. I think it's important to remember, if something comes, when your strategy and authority brings you to the right thing, you can take action. You will feel something is right to do, or try. It might not work out, but you will know that it doesn't work for you, which is a great experience. Don't be afraid of this. Don't be afraid of experiences, as long as you have the right expectations. Especially this week, we have to be very careful about the expectations that we have, right? But follow your strategy and authority, and trust that you're in a place where things are done for you. If right now you're holding back, this is meant to be. It's okay, right? Take inspired action when you feel that it's correct for you, but don't beat yourself up that you're not there where you want it to be, because that comes from your mind, all your expectations. You're here because you're learning something. Something is being integrated into your system to really know what's yours and what's not yours. So trusting your journey is such a powerful thing. Of course, we need discipline, and we can't completely do nothing. That's a different conversation. That's that's on us. It's not to do with anything or human design. But trusting is so important. Anita, how are you experiencing this
Yeah,
transit?
this is super energy, and it is key in manifesting because it's the being able to recognize the difference between emotional excitement and that resonance, that inner resonance that is your inner yes. Now, the 29 is the gate that's it is the gate of yes, and it is, it's you can be no averse with that 29. That 29 is what sets up that FOMO. Because you don't want to miss out on anything. You want to say yes to everything, right? And I have two people in my house here who have this gate, and I always um, ask them the yes no question rather than set them up to ask them for an opinion. I ask them a yes no question because it drives them mental not to know, or mad, or
Mm.
whatever, right? So with this gate 41 activated by Pluto, this whole energy is, well, if you have this gate, it's going to be activated for the next 4 years. And the Pluto, it's really interesting with the transits at the moment because um, first of all, the sun is conjunct with Mercury, which means how we communicate is being lit up. Are we communicating through our emotions, or are we communicating through our authenticity, or our yes? And when I say that, sometimes when we're in emotional energy with this gate, it talks to us about, well, are you living your life sitting on a fence due to expectations? Or are you living your life and living the experience of it? Right? There's a
That's
big
right.
difference here. Are you, and it's beautiful that this energy is connected with the gate 29, with the energy of yes, because excitement is very different to resonance. You can be really excited, and I know, especially if you are emotionally defined, because we'll jump in, it'll be a great idea at the time, and we'll be there, yes. And a week later, we're kind of going, oh my God, why did I say yes to this again? Oh my God, I mistook excitement for my resonance. And so that makes it very important, because this is where you can burn out. You say yes to everything and you're not in right timing, and you're jumping into all these activities that are not for you at all. So it is a great energy. It's going to be activated for the next 4 years with Pluto there. And I love the Pluto at this point, because Pluto is kind of saying, well, look, expectations can actually destroy your experience if they're not met. And if so, allow your expectations to evolve from the experience, rather than let somebody else's expectations, or what you should achieve or shouldn't achieve, determine your enjoyment of a situation. And with this, Venus is moving into Aries um, so with Mercury retrograde, it's review your communication. With Mars retrograde, it's reviewing what actions you're taking, and Mars is going direct soon. With Venus, it's review what's correct for you. Review your values, review your money, your values, your relationships, because make sure they're connected with what you truly need, rather than what you emotionally think you want. Or the expectation, to me, is AKA attachment to something.
Yes.
Expectation can be attachment, and it's always emotional. So with the manifesting, um, really grounding your ask, really grounding what you want to happen, because that way you engage your body to take the action anyway. It's not going to be fear driven, it can be set up in a beautiful way. So I don't know, does that answer your question? But
Totally
it
does. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely
yeah.
does. And I love how what you mentioned about, being meeting expectations of others. One of the biggest thing, and most people who are we're attracting usually are in from the coaching industry, therapists and coaches and healers and spiritual, or even business, coaches. But this is where I see there's a lot of danger, especially in business coaching, marketing coaching. There's too much discourse. There's too much how things should be, which, at this stage, I should call myself an anti-marketer, because, most of it doesn't apply to this specific niche, like when you're selling transformation, facilitating some sort of shifts in others, with who you are really. And then there's so much of like guidelines that are all laying out, this should be this way, this should be this way. And so instead of actually trusting yourself, to do something, say you, for example, you need to record a video for your website, for example. I'm not talking about anyone specifically, but just as an example. So instead of just sitting down, turning the camera, and trying to say what you would tell a person who would come to you, you start overthinking. Oh, my ideal client, who are they? What do they need to hear? You will never guess what they need to hear, by the way. You're not a clairvoyant, right? But you can speak what you have to say. And the right people will hear the right things. They will just pick energetically up the right things from you. But no, you're going to be worried. Then you will go study how to do a good speech. And you'll do all that time for 2-minute video that you
Mm.
could have just recorded. That's
That is
simple.
so true. That is so true. Although if you're like me, I'm inclined to rummate, which is Irish for wander, in my conversation. So I could go off on a tangent very easily.
So
But
do I. Oh, so do
yeah,
I.
yeah,
We're both like this. But you know what? Allow this, because
yeah,
the right people who you attract, they will like that, or even if it's not about even liking or not liking this about that, they will accept you the way you are. If you write long posts, they will read your long posts. If you speak long and you go on, and you deviate. I know before we actually met with Anita, just actually, she knew that I am in her world. I was stalking her in her Facebook group. I watched so many videos, no matter how long they were. I just had them on my, in my earphones and just listened to her before. I think I then invited you to be a guest on my Visibility by Design podcast. And it's so interesting because it doesn't matter that you deviated. You gave me what you needed to give me. And so the right people will accept you the way you are. So don't shy away. Don't let other people dictate who you are. Don't let other coach tell you to go on TikTok when you never even opened this app.
yeah.
Follow your own, well, it's hard to follow your own authentic self when you're not confident in yourself, right?
So true.
Just,
But you're so right. It's so refreshing to hear this because so many, as you say, the expectations, there's so many business, marketing, and healing holistic guides, putting things into absolute that are actually guidelines.
yeah.
And that's what I love about your marketing is that it's organic to me. I mean, if you're out there and you haven't got Juliette's report yet, get it. Like I'm still reading mine and I've got it like I have it in my email for 2 years. I refer to it all the time because you see different things at different times
Mm.
and it's just so useful. It's the same with manifesting, you need to know your way of thinking, how you process
Yes.
information, how you process emotions. All that comes into needs to be factored in your manifesting. And that's where I can help you. And because it's just so much easier when you can follow your own guidelines.
That's it.
You
Yeah,
don't
you
have
say no confidently, you say yes confidently because you
a,
know how to make the decisions that feel correct because you're not like, out of control, being dragged into these directions and excitement, which excitement is feels lovely. But it's
yeah,
very dangerous. It's a dangerous emotional energy excitement. Like if you're a generator, for example, you're with your porous energy, you're and you get excitable, but it's dangerous because you can
yeah,
get conditioned, you can get dragged away, you can get, you want here your sacral with all this excitement going on, so we
yeah.
have to sometimes step back. We have to, hold back, listen. And so people like Anita, well, Anita here, not people like Anita here, is an expert on how to help you learn about your decision making, which is the first step and the
Yeah.
more important step in manifesting. We all want to have something that we desire. This is now the gate of desire. The solar transit actually is such a suited conversation. We desire a lot of things, but we often lack clarity, and most importantly, we don't know how to make decisions that will bring us there.
That's so true. And with the energies, Venus is going into Mercury sorry, Mercury ret. I'm so used to saying Mercury retrograde. Venus is going into retrograde in Aries. So really, it's time to evaluate. The energies are there to help you clear desires that you have made through expectation, through what you see in others and you think you want, as opposed to
Mm.
what you truly want. So for me, a good example would be I thought, yeah, I'll take in so many clients and I'll do this and this and this. And I had a whole business strategy set out. And after one day, I said, oh, that's way too much for me. I'm way too tired. There's no way I'll manage this. And the big thing is to give ourselves permission to adjust. Pluto will say in the gate 41, it says, look, you're feeling limited. This is why you're passionate for something, but you're feeling limited on how to express your passion, right? And so what and what has worked for you in the past? And if you listen to Juliet, it will be when you spoke from your heart. It will be when you spoke what you needed to say about a subject, coming from your truth in it. That's what, not something you've contrived
Yeah.
because based on expectations. So this energy is very, very closely linked to how we're expressing it even today.
It's
You know,
true. It's so true. And another example as well I want to add because it's so common. It's sort of saying, "Oh, I want to be visible, but I don't want to go on social media." It's not there's no equal sign visibility on social media. There's so many other ways, you can market yourself and use social media just as repurposing stuff and not be there, not because it's very difficult for your nervous system. I know that firsthand as someone who specialized in Facebook for so long. It's really, really, it's tasking, but you don't have to. You
yeah,
really don't have to. So again, don't listen to what other people say and take that as an absolute truth. That's what
mm,
Anita said earlier. It's
mm,
a guideline. This is why I love human design. Again, it's a guideline. And you then redefine what things mean to you. You pick and choose what suits you, and you focus on those things. And when you focus on those things and you have an intention, I'm not talking about an intention it's like, oh, I'm going to have a six-figure business by Tuesday. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about an intention of how you want to feel, or, you know, some sort of big dream that you have, and then let it focus on what you can do, let it unfold. Live in the
that's
now, draw the conclusions from the experiences, not from the expectations.
absolutely. And that's so important because when you are trying something new, you need to be able to try it. You need to take the scientist's viewpoint on it, trial and error. You see the guidance, you take what resonates, and you go with that, and you tweak it as you go. There's no such thing as an absolute answer. And
Yes.
because we're being taught in absolutes, we're looking for the absolute. What's the one thing that I can do? What's the only way I can do it? You know, it's allow yourself trial and error to develop your. And here's something that's actually just come to me is when you have this energy, we all experience these energies, right? We all experience them. It's just how we experience them is based on our design. But when you have a passion for something, it's just as much a path to burnout if you're not expressing it than
Yes.
if you are. And a lot of people think, I'll just wait for the right time, I'll wait for the right time. And they're waiting, waiting, waiting. Again, future blocking themselves. They're
Yes.
keeping everything at arm's length. So with this, understand that the passion is just do one thing today. Just do one thing that embraces your passion or that honors your passion and your yes together. Remember, the yes grounds the passion. That's where 29 in the earth, when you have all this passion and you ground it in your inner yes, that's the game changer. That's what puts you in the path of prosperity. And it's so, so useful. And also, of course, helping you decide, well, what business and marketing strategies are going to support my passion. It's really cool.
It is really cool. And you know what? Nobody can give you the actual like a strategy that will work for you. They can just suggest a strategy to try. Nobody knows. It's because you're so different. It's because we're all so unique. It's because everybody thinks differently and everybody has a different process that you will only develop your own thing. And it takes a while. So, while you just mentioned, Anita, about future blocking, the Chinese proverb that everybody knows, the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. It really is true because it's a such long process of trial and testing and seeing what works. It takes sometimes years. In my case, it took many years in order for my business to become consistent. And then I can start thinking, do I want to even scale it? Because that's a different decision. But people just jump in and they're like, okay, I've been in business 5 minutes. I want to scale it to 8 figures now. you know, this is
Such a
where there is a lot. You have to understand that there's a lot of this like fire hose of promises and absolutes and very convincing marketing poured at you. So especially if you don't have experience, less is more. Focus on one thing. Focus on, and that one thing could be just like show up the way you are, as unpolished and as no clue as you are. That is actually the most attractive thing when we just show up.
Yeah, so true. And as well, another, I think, major consideration is when you're coming from a job moving into running your own business, passion will have driven that. But it's just be very careful that that passion isn't driven by the stress motivated strategies that you would have learned in the workplace, and that you learn how to connect in with that yes to properly discern. Actually saves you a fortune in
Yes.
time, money, and energy, just making sure that you are um, intentionally focusing your energy in and harnessing this energy in a way that's correct for you. That's one of the biggest ways I've seen. That's how I burnt out first, was coming from the workplace into running my business. And I was there, I'm running a business in Angels. How taxing can it be? I burnt out doing it because I worked all hours and, I didn't understand that, no, you can't do on call with Angel Work Anita. No, it's a different type of work that you're doing. And yes, you have to adapt different strategies to manage your energy. And, it took quite some time before I realized what that was. Uh,
Mm.
so it's just to understand, because now is the time where the makeup breakup, where you'll quit the job, wait a couple of weeks before you make the
You
decision.
know what? Yeah, because this whole thing about being excited, but you can also be, this could be a negative, not excitement, but you just want like, okay, I've had enough of this.
Yeah.
And I felt like this last year as well, just before I met Jim. That was the energy. This year's different theme, same energy, and I already know. I know that unless I have a full splenic yes, unless I'm really calm and it's nothing to do with excitement, and I let go of the expectation, just say, okay, wait and see what happens. I'm just gonna sit here and just like look at this movie that I'm watching right now. I'm not part of that movie. I'm just the one in the theater, and it's on the screen. That's the way to approach this. And that's it. Really is the only way to deal with this situation. But then later on, everything will become clear, because where you are is where you should be. And things that take very long time to figure out, all the burning out, just made me think how I always say, make your business convenient to you. And we take all these years to fight all those other things that we're told to do until we find the way to make it convenient for us, so we don't sabotage, overwork, all these things, and then we can be present in our business. And that's why it takes so long.
So
But yeah,
true.
don't be afraid of that. Seriously,
Yeah.
there is so many ways. It's like 1,000 roads lead to Rome. Yeah, that old proverb. It's the
Yeah.
same. There is your way and the only way.
And you can redefine the wait. I want to be very clear with this distinction. Wait for your yes. That's
Yes.
what you're waiting for. You're waiting for your yes, right? And the yes tells you when the timing is right. Your yes tells you when this is what you need to say. So that's what I want to, you
That's
know,
actually really, really, really good, because so just to summarize, discern the excitement and the pressure to commit, to say yes, to when your authority says yes, if you're emotionally defined, emotional clarity, if you're a mental projector, reflector, wait, like let the time put things, in place. If you're self-projected, or you want to talk at someone, if you're self or ego projected authority, do you have the will? Do you feel the drive to do this? Do you actually want, is this is something that you want? Not someone else, not other kind of like, it makes sense, or this will put you in a good light. Do you want to do it or not? So we all have this splenics. We just know. There's no emotion with the splenic knowing, yes or no. It's like, mm-mm. So I know right now in my negative situation what to do. My spleen says, yeah, walk away. But I'm not going to take action, because I just want this energy to fizzle out, this transit to pass. Then we'll see. Then I already know my answer, but, so analyze everything. Don't change anything. That's what we're going to leave you with. Guys, thank you so much for staying with us. We will see you in the next episode of Transits and Tactics. Bye.